Hello, 1A, and welcome to your pick a card reading video. So, if this is something you clicked on by accident, or if you're just not ready to hop into it, then you might want to pause. Otherwise, we're going to get right into it right now. So, here are the 12 oracle cards that we have. I will get into the oracle cards later. I'll have to do two separate portions for the oracle cards as well. You'll see what I mean later on. But we are starting with, I actually haven't even looked at the oracle cards yet either. And I pulled these cards earlier, like was it 3 days ago? So I don't even if I saw them, I have a bad memory. So it's like I don't even remember what they would have said. Anyway, I was looking over your cards briefly before hopping on here, and some of the cards here, like the towers here, uh, might make you a little bit nervous. And like the Five of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, or the Wheel of Life in reverse. But I'm telling you, this actually all looks very good, and it looks very positive. So the cards we have are the Fool upright, the Star upright, the Four of Cups upright, the Eight of Swords in reverse, the Ace of Swans, Ace of Swords in reverse, Five of Pentacles upright, Nine of Pentacles in reverse, Revelation or Tower card upright, Youth of Pentacles upright, or the Page of Pentacles upright, and we have Nine of Cups upright, Wheel of Life or Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and the Youth or Page of Swords upright. So this stack very clearly reads to me that the main theme of your 2026 is that you will finally go after your dreams. Okay? But I see there obviously being difficulties along the way. The Fool, I love how that's the first card that was pulled. And then after that, the Star. Oh, I love that. And then there's a lot of mirroring going on here. So, especially with these first cards, the Fool mirroring the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and the Star mirroring the Tower. And the Star and the Tower are close in numbering. I'm not good with Roman numerals, but I think, yeah, Tower is 10, 16. And the Star is 17. I think. Unless if I'm doing that wrong, but okay. Oh gosh. Where do I even want to start specifically? I'm just like, okay, I'm feeling a lot of energy, and I feel like even me just saying this is the year of you chasing after your dreams, it makes a lot of you excited, but also very anxious. That's the energy of the cards as well. It's very exciting, but also very anxious all throughout the cards. So with the Fool here, that represents a new beginning. So I feel like for this year, you will venture into territory that is unknown to you. You know, sometimes with the Fool, it's about just doing new things that are related to what we've done before. But I don't get the sense of that. I feel like you have there's something you've wanted to do, but I feel like you just haven't had the resources or even the time maybe to get going on this thing. Or maybe you haven't had the expertise, such as a dream job, right? People can have dream jobs, but maybe people are finishing up colleges, getting their degrees, finishing up getting their college degrees and graduating and all that. It's very similar energy, but I feel like this doesn't necessarily relate to that as much. What I mean is that it feels like while this could relate specifically to something you went to school for, it feels like it relates to something either more specific within that or something not even related to schooling. This doesn't mean you had to have gone to college or gone to a degree either. So not everybody does, and college isn't for everybody. So let me break down what I was trying to say before though. So I don't think this is about like leaving college and finding your dream job. For some of you, it could be that you have a career and you work somewhere, but you want to specifically work at a certain job, a workplace. A good example, let's say that you went to school for computer engineering, or no, being a software engineer, software engineering, software development, all that, coding. Let's say then out of college you got a job for that, but let's say your ultimate dream is to work for, I don't know, Microsoft and or Google. and you really want to do that, but you do not have the money maybe to move even if you did get the job. Or maybe it would be best for you would feel more confident if you got more work experience related to your career. So for some of you, I feel like that relates. So in that certain instance, this could be the year where you finally are able to make that jump, make that leap of faith, and apply for like your ultimate dream workplace. Or yeah, even if it's out of the country too, for some of you, this is somewhere that's very far away from where you would be living right now. So Spirit is saying that this could be the year to finally do that, and I see that with the star being here, if that's the case, you have a good shot of getting that dream job, but I see that financials would be in trouble here. I think where's Google based in? Isn't it based in Seattle, right? Or is it based in Silicon Valley? No, I don't know. It's somewhere on the West Coast, the main corporate building for like Google. And for a lot of those things, you can also do it online too. But for you all, if you get this dream job, I feel like you'd have to move, a lot of you. And it seems like with this, even though you might make good money, Youth of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles is saying that you could start out making good enough money to support yourself, at least for where you live now. But for having to move somewhere else, it seems like the cost of living would be a lot higher than what you are used to or for where you live now. So I think even though you would get this dream job, then the cost of living would be a lot higher. And for some of you, it could be that your dream job, at least getting to start out, would be even less. So that just indicates making less. But it seems like financials, either way, will struggle. So make sure you take into account the location of where you live, location of where you live. What am I trying to say? Sorry, there's so many energies coming through, so it's like wee woo so much. uh, Processing through my intuitive mind right now. Also, I want to say that with the Nine of Cups here, that's also about it's really similar messaging with the star. So with the situation I was talking about, if you get your dream job, especially if you have to move for it, it seems like you'll be happy with what you're doing. And I feel like with the Eight of Swords being reversed, like a lot of you will feel a lot more confident with this career path. But it seems like, yeah, I don't know, just for some reason financials are an issue. But it could be because of moving. It could also be that hmm, I wonder if in that situation it would be very difficult for you to bond with the people in your workplace environment. I feel like you'd be good with the work, but it seems like ooh, yeah, I'm getting the sense that people will be unhappy. So I think it could be coworkers being unhappy, and I think for the other ones of you, it could be that your friends and family that you have would be unhappy with you having to move to this place. So I see it being a difficult time for you to adjust. And also, with the tower being here, I will say it seems like this type of opportunity is a once in a lifetime opportunity, so you have to think quickly. Some of you, if you don't think quickly enough, it will pass you by, and this kind of opportunity will never come to you again or present itself to you again. So I would say to not worry about other people. You can love and care about other people, but you have to do what's best for you and what makes you happiest. And this seems like something you've been visualizing for yourself and wanting for yourself for quite a while. So Spirit is saying to focus on that, and that is really highlighted your happiness and your health. I feel like Four of Cups indicates that this move to this workplace, going to this workplace would make you lonely in many ways because of Four of Cups. And again, so I think it could be hard to adjust. Even if you get along with coworkers, I feel like outside of your workplace, it could be hard to make friends. And for those of you, even if you get a dream job and it's somewhere where you already have friends, like whatever it is, it feels like you'll be a lot busier with this dream job as well. So that's something to take into consideration. With the Wheel of Fortune reverse, it makes me think too that for a lot of you, Oh, the tower, yeah, this would be such a big change. I think a lot of you will be saddened by it at first after you start settling in. And I think it reminds me of, you know how, this I don't know why this is popping into my head. I think it's just because the example is relevant and it's a good example. It makes me think of when people go to concerts, and I'm like this too, I've been like this. People go to concerts, and then when they go back home, like that night or the next day, they start feeling really depressed. And people are like that with major life events in general, things that are really happy. It's because all the excitement, when it starts to wear off, it affects your brain chemicals. So then it affects how you mentally feel, and it also affects your body. And so a lot of you might feel a lot more fatigued during this time. And so I think once that initial shock wears off, and work is still work, right? And so I think a lot of you will also feel a lot of pressure to live up to expectations from others, but mainly yourself, honestly. I think a lot of you will just not want to mess it up, and you'll really want to make sure that this opportunity doesn't go away. But also just the reality of the situation, I think, will hit many of you where you'll think about things differently. Because when you're in a situation, it's different than when you visualize and dream about it. So I think once things become more real, I think a lot of you will be like, well, this isn't what I expected. So there will be things that are unexpected about this transition. But Spirit is saying in the long run, you'll just have to adapt. But at first, I see it being difficult. I think throughout this whole year, it will probably be difficult. But I see that if you put in the effort to try and see how this is a good thing and remind yourself of why you chose this decision in the first place, that will help keep you grounded and to keep strong until things aren't needing to always just be adapted to. Things will just be normal. So returning to normalcy will be difficult during this time. Now, I do want to also say that for those of you who maybe the dream job thing doesn't resonate in terms of an actual company or other business, for some of you, this indicates quite literally starting your own business. And also, it could even just indicate moving somewhere else in general, but I want to talk about starting your own business. So with that, I see with financials, I see business being slow at first. I see if you start your own business, you'll be happy at first, but then I think you'll be worried because business might be slow. Or if you've never started a business before, even a side gig before, I think you'll realize, like, I used to have an LLC myself for my British Holistic Healing stuff, and that stuff, I only worked for myself too, and it's a lot to keep up with. And it can be very hectic and stressful. So you have to think about taxes, especially. Think about costs. You have to think about if you have any not employees, employees. You have to think about if you travel out of state or you sell product out of the state or out of the country. You have to think about shipping costs, product cost, how much it takes to make a product as opposed to selling it, and that involves services as well. If you want a brick and mortar, like physical location, if you want to do things online, promoting yourself, hopefully not using AI, but using maybe even having to hire people for artwork or for promotional services. There's a lot to consider when it comes to starting a business, and I think a lot of you have dreams that you have. Spirit is saying that during this time, at first, start smaller. You can still do some things that you want to do, obviously, and still make things to your liking. But I think Spirit is saying that all the things you want to do, you won't be able to do because it's not as cost effective. And or you might not have the support from the public for your product, your good, or your service. At least not at first. I'm not seeing that. And also, I think a lot of people can get caught up in money. I think a lot of you will get caught up in the money aspect of things. Spirit is here to remind you that you shouldn't worry about that. You should do this because you want to do it. That doesn't mean to be impulsive all the time, even though the tower is here. That doesn't mean to be completely impulsive and to not think before you act, because your business should be something that you cherish, you love, and that you do take time to consider things, different aspects of business. But Spirit is saying that while you can still prepare and plan, you can't plan how many people will purchase your product or service, and you cannot force people to. So Spirit is saying to kind of lower your expectations. Even if you have friends and family, that doesn't mean that they'll always buy your stuff or that they even can afford it themselves necessarily. I think during this time actually too, you'll realize certain people who you would like to have for support, even if it's not financial support, just emotional support, people I think will feel uncomfortable. I think it's because people will be jealous of you during this time. Ace of Swords in reverse makes me think that people will cut off communication with you because of this business endeavor you're going down, as long as it's not an MLM. Like, if you're doing this thing and if it's not negative in nature, then go for it, right? But yeah, I see that you'll realize people don't some people who you will expect to show support for you in any way won't be there. So then I think you'll realize certain people you have to not talk with as much, um, or cut out of your life. I just see them not being very supportive. But I do see a lot of things happening quickly, but it might not seem like it. It might seem like there are delays, but I just think it's because there's so much that needs to be done. It's not delays, it's just other things need to be done before you can tackle other issues. And in order for your business to get booming and really popping off, you really have to think about all the details. And I think that does make probably some of you uncomfortable. But I think for you, I'm hearing that the more attention you pay to detail, that the greater the reward will be. Maybe you won't see it this year, so that's why Spirit is saying too, a lot of you, no matter what it is, have to be patient. Because I see over the next couple or few years, things will fall into place more. So that's why Spirit is saying, I think, start small, or at least smaller than maybe you originally intended. And don't put all your money into things, because I see over time you'll have to spend a lot of money, and you might even be kind of in debt for this year in general. But Spirit is saying that if you are smart enough with your money, that you'll end up not being in debt shortly after this year. You just have to be careful about where you put your finances. And you know what came to mind? Whatever is going to happen for you this year, it's like one major change. There could be multiple changes, but like one major change, especially as it relates to career. And I think also a lot of you, it does relate to locationally where you will be at. But I was hearing, like, if you had one last dying wish, what do you wish you did with your life? And that, when you think about that, I feel like that is what relates to this reading and what you need to really tackle for this year. This doesn't feel like a year of, like, I don't know how much planning you've done before. I get the energy and the vibe that you haven't done too much planning before. It's more so you've just had thoughts and intentions to eventually start this thing or do this thing. So Spirit is saying this is a time of both balancing out planning, but also taking action. So while you're taking action, planning for the next step, it's very much a time of living in the moment and taking action and taking steps as needed based off of feedback you get in the present moment. So don't look too far ahead as well, because I think that's where you're more likely to also lose out on money or be unhappy. So even though it can be difficult, Spirit is saying that part of that patience is to be patient with the now instead of focusing too much on the future. So you really need to take things day by day, and with that adaptability, that's a big keyword for you all. The more you are able to, I guess you could say, go with the flow, but the more you are able to adapt and make changes as needed along the way. Like, you can have a plan, right? It's good to have a plan, but make sure it's not something that has to be completely set in stone, every single aspect of this plan, so that you can change things as you go along. It feels like Spirit saying that's the best way for you, because there will be many things that you will have to course correct, is what I'm hearing. So if something's not working out in this area, and if you intuitively feel like, oh, maybe I should try this out, and then the other thing works out better, then you should do that. And I have to highlight that the friendships again, though, because yeah, I feel like this is a year of losing some friends, but also gaining friends. I think too, gaining business partnerships. It's a good year for networking and connecting with people in that way. Oh, my cat is scratching right behind me. So don't meow like that. Okay. You feeling the energy, honey? Okay. What was I saying? Uh oh yeah, I feel like business partners, people who do similar work to you for this year, it would be good to connect with them. That's why connecting with coworkers will be important. So if you don't connect with them at first, try to find somebody that you can connect with. I feel like there's got to be at least a small group of people who you can connect with. And if not at your workplace, then yeah, people who are similar to you in terms of career. It feels like that will help you stay focused actually and stay balanced, because I feel like this is a year too for accepting advice from people. You could give advice. I'm not really getting the vibe of that though. I think it's a lot of learning that will happen for this year. So it's about receiving advice and also feedback from other people. Let's say somebody buys your product or service and people leave a review, but let's say there's like a negative review and you only have like 3 reviews. It's like, oh, that's not good. So then maybe you reach out to them and kindly you're like, what can I do better? Also people within a similar line of work to you asking, what can I do better? And I'm getting a sense too that you should, whatever you do for work or career, even if it's a creative hobby, maybe some of you, but whatever you do for your career, if you compare your work to other people, don't do it in a way of blaming or shaming yourself. Always go into it, at least this year, with the mindset of, what can I do to improve? There's a lot of improvements that need to be made. I see a lot of mistakes being made. So then Spirit is saying, along with these mistakes, look at where you can improve. I feel like that will translate into many areas of your life, but it's especially is being highlighted in terms of your professional career. So if you get feedback, even if it's just from a boss, it's like they're like, hey, do better with this. Sit with that and don't just make a remark like, oh, you don't know me, you don't know how I work. I actually get a lot done. I do good. I feel like there's a lot. Sometimes people will say things that you don't agree with, right? But then that's for you to decipher. If people are giving you feedback and you sit with it and you're like, okay, this is how I can do better. And then asking for help. It's a year for asking for help as well. Like, how can I do better? How can I learn more and be more educated in this area so that I'm actually better in my work and also more efficient? I think a lot of you, this is a year of being more time efficient, even though some of you may need to it gives the vibes of overworking yourself, at least for this first year. There's a sense that you'll be more balanced within your work itself. So work-life career, I don't see being very balanced, but I see you being balanced within your work so that you don't take your work home either, unless you need to sometimes, but like if you're self-employed, you're kind of always having to work, but I get the sense that you will just, with learning and with receiving feedback and trying to learn, do better, I see you growing and just doing better within your career. And I think that will hopefully by the end of the year make you more confident in what you were able to do within your career. With the Knight of Cups here, remember, this is something that you've wanted to do for a while. Youth of Pentacles right next to it saying, this is a new thing, so you need to give yourself grace if you make mistakes, or if you get negative feedback, or if things don't turn out specifically a certain way. There's also a lot of realism within this stack, balanced with the fantastical. So anything you've dreamed of is balanced out with realism. Making dreams come true, once those dreams become reality, then that will be balanced. It's not just a dream, it's something that is real and tangible. So there's a balance of things that you've always dreamed of having happen, you always dream of happening in your life, will happen. But really take care of your mental health. I think a lot of you will struggle in that regard just from feeling overwhelmed or stressed out. There's just so much that will be happening at once. So the adaptability, again, it's so key. Let me try to think about, for this, the energy as it relates to finances. I wonder if there's anything specific. I'm just hearing to save. I was gonna say if there's anything you can do for your finances to help you. I'm just hearing to save. I'm seeing a lot of you will have to, like any frivolous spending, you'll have to kind of cut off. Does that make sense? Any frivolous spending you might normally do, like let's say you go out to eat a lot. It seems, or you buy a lot of fancy food from the grocery store, I don't know. You travel a lot. It seems like the things that you've done before, in terms of extracurricular activities or hobbies, you'll have to kind of put on the back burner this year, or spend less money on those things for this year. With the star being here, in the Fool, Spirit is saying that you'll need to reserve a lot of your time and money for career or for moving. And so I hear Spirit saying too, like, if this is something you really want, then you have to show that you really want it. We can't just hand this to you. You have to actually put in effort to allow it to happen. This is something you've wanted. So if it is something you've truly wanted, you have to, with the Tower, act quickly and act in a way of showing you actually want this to happen. Because if you're spending money elsewhere, then it will show Spirit that you're not actually ready for this, and that you're in the energy of doing what you're already doing instead of making these changes to adapt. And I want to talk more about moving, I think. It seems like, again, that relates to financials as well. Some of you, I think, will want to live in an apartment or in a house that is maybe in a nicer or well-to-do, better off neighborhood, or that has certain appliances like washer and dryer, dishwasher, all those things, a gym, like an apartment gym or something. Even it could be that you want to live closer to where you work. Spirit is saying that there will need to be sacrifices in those areas as well, in terms of where you live. Even if you don't move far this year, like if you're planning on moving, think of moving somewhere that is less expensive, even if it's in a less quote unquote nice area, and even if it's further away from where you need to work. It makes me think of people who live in the suburbs but have to drive like half an hour to an hour to and from work. That might need to be a sacrifice you need to make in order to save money. Also see that you might get a actually never mind. I feel like some of you will not get along with neighbors no matter where you live, actually, so that's very interesting. And I feel like if you move somewhere that's cheaper, you'll actually get along with neighbors less for some reason. But I feel like Spirit is saying that it will be worth it, and that's one of the sacrifices you'll have to make. There are quite a few sacrifices that have to be made, but in the long run, it will be something that is helpful and effective for your long-term goals. I'm talking about long-term goals, but you don't need to focus too much on long-term goals. Like, have them set aside. You can look at them every once in a while, but really, it's about focusing on the present moment. And I'm hearing do what you can to make it work, because you can make it work. Even like taking public transportation and all that. Find ways to save money. That's not only cost effective too. It's like that's also better for the planet. I feel like what Spirit is saying too is that the decisions you make for this year, a lot of the ones that are best for you won't just be good in one area. They'll be good in many areas like that, where it's good for the environment, but also it's more cost effective. And then if you're an anxious driver, you don't have to worry about driving or getting into an accident, right? So if you decide to move for your career, then think about the ways in which that will help not only you, like maybe financially, or you, like, I don't know, financially, I guess, but also creatively. In terms of mental health, like for me, I always say I would be better off living in California or somewhere warmer, like near the ocean. Cause for me, like my mental health is impacted greatly by living in Minnesota. Some people are complete opposite. They love the weather in Minnesota. They love the atmosphere and all that, all the snow and the icy roads, I guess. So it's like think about where you would be in life, and I'm talking about geographically that would make you happiest. And that also means physically in terms of workplace, and your workplace environment. For some of you too, you need to make sure if you have a setup where you work at home, make sure that it's separate from your bedroom if possible, and make sure that it's a safe space. And that will be a lot more helpful for your work and work ethic. You'll get a lot more work done. I see you getting either way a lot of work done this year, whatever you do for your career and for work. And I'm not getting the sense that even though financials might be more limited, I don't get the sense that you'll have to take up part-time work. You just might have to work extra and cut corners in ways. And I think that will actually be being more sustainable now. That's a big word for you all too, is being sustainable. Being sustainable now will be easier as time goes along, and then you'll be a lot more sustainable in the future as well. So then you'll cut costs, you'll do things that are better for the environment, and all of those things. I know it's kind of random, but I really do feel like this group does care about the environment, but I know it can be hard to do that. Like cutting out streaming service costs. I see stuff like that as well. Even though it might not be as fun, a lot of you can maybe pick up healthier hobbies, like reading. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like what you replace these things with in your life that are extracurricular or yeah, just like what you spend your money on. It seems like if you replace those things with cheaper, more cost effective or free things or hobbies, that will be also important for your overall health, not just your financial health, but I see that being more helpful just for you all to connect with yourself too and your creativity. I see you connecting more with your creativity this year when you do more of the things that actually don't cost money or cost less money or utilize less supplies over time, right? Like you could be a painter or that could be a hobby of yours and you like doing that. But if you're doing that, then maybe instead of going through a bunch of paintings, you can still do paintings, but work on more intricate paintings that take a lot more time. Stuff like that. It feels like slowing down in a way. Things won't be slow. Like things will be quick and fast and all that in terms of professional life, but in terms of your personal life, I'm hearing that you should try your best to take it easy almost. Okay, but I want to leave it at that. Let me gather up all these tarot cards and then I will go ahead now and start laying out these oracle cards. Yay. Ooh. Okay, laying them all out. Okay, I'll read the cards out loud and then I'll tell you what my first inclinations are for each card before I read in the guidebooks. So we have 29 Obsidian Protection Root Chakra. I love obsidian. People talk about black tourmaline, but I've always felt more drawn to black obsidian. I love it. I'm wearing black obsidian today, actually. Cool. Okay. Turtle Retreat. Stop trying to make something happen. Decisions. 30 Integration. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. Yeah, a lot of balancing for you all. Returning. Spiral Journey, Growth, Renewal, Healed. The Courageous Peony. Multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. And I do want to say with that too, it seems like a lot of you, what you're trying to do will put you more in the spotlight. It could be like some sort of fame, I guess, like social media influencer, or it could be something just like being higher up in your field, or again, working somewhere that is maybe super cool that not many people can work at, like Microsoft, like the actual Microsoft the main location, headquartered in Seattle, stuff like that. It seems like you are being more perceived during this year, or at least you are striving to be in some way. Okay. And then I don't know how to say this. I don't think I've ever pulled this card. Clematis, mental strength, artistic/creativity. Ooh, see the creativity and clever ingenuity. I didn't bring up this specific messaging earlier, but it seems like with creativity, a lot of you, this career move could involve creativity, or it could just be creative solutions. Like I talked about taking like public transportation instead of driving to work every time, or biking to work, stuff like that. Thinking of creative solutions as well. But I think a lot of you are very creative people, even if you are somebody who's very sciencey and like tech bro-y. I don't know. I still see that artistic side of you. Think about a different approach today and don't give up. There are other ways. That's the thing too, and with decisions being here, that's why you need to be adaptable. It's like, if that's what I was saying, if things aren't working out one way, then try a different way. And then from the I don't, what is this called? I have the, oh no, I don't have the deck. Oh, there's no deck for this. I mean, there's no guidebook. But from the like romance oracle deck, it says pay attention to the red flags, the signs are cautioning you. That could relate to romance, but I feel like it relates more to just your life situation in general, but I'll get to that after I read this. Successful funding. Your idea is divinely guided and supported by the same infinite wisdom of God that gave you the idea. Do not allow money concerns to prevent, oh my god, this is amazing. Do not allow money concerns to prevent you from turning it into a reality. Crowdfunding, partnerships, and other investments are available to help you. That's what I was saying too. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. it seems like financially things will be rough at first. So if you're able to get help from your community or from people you know, if you're able to get some sort of like, I don't know, maybe even if this just indicates a loan, like from a bank, there's something you can do to get help financially that will help you if you don't have the money or the means. This is spirit saying there are ways around this, or there are ways to ask for help from people, or like, I don't know much about financial stuff, but spirit is saying that there are ways that people can help you, and there are ways too that you can start small. And also, the successful funding relates to you saving more money for your endeavors this year as well, professional endeavors. So pay attention to the red flags. That could be about, like, if there's any romantic partners who are showcasing red flags, that could just be indicative for this year. Or if you're going on dates, be careful to. I feel like for some reason people might try to date you for, I don't even know, just for wrong reasons. And people might try to, I'm getting Seven of Swords energy, where people might try to, especially if you move somewhere else, right? It's like you're new, you're vulnerable, and you maybe don't have friends. Be careful about people not having pure intentions. But I do want to say, I think pay attention to the red flags relates to the adaptability again, where if something doesn't seem right, maybe at first it was working out, or maybe at first you doing something, it seemed like it would be positive and fruitful. Whatever the situation, if something feels like it's not working out, try to course correct. So, I'm trying to if you, like, accept a job somewhere, I'm trying to think, 'cause this is mainly in terms of, like, starting your own business, this is the vibe I'm getting with this, but this could also be, like, at your workplace. If things don't seem right, I'm hearing that some of you may need to talk to HR or talk to your boss for some reason. Also, coworkers might try to be a little sketch with you as well, but there does seem like there will need to be many changes along the way. Whatever you're able to do, whatever you have the power to do, then make sure to do that. Also, I have to say, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Don't be falling for any cults or MLMs now, okay? Because you all can come up with creative solutions yourself. And it really is a year of focusing on yourself, I want to say, but it seems like you will still need help from other people. You will still need resources that other people can provide and expertise that other people can provide. For some of you too, I'm getting the sense that it might even be like it makes me think of people who are like in nursing or doctorate school. And so they choose to go like after you get your undergrad, you go somewhere else and you do internship work elsewhere. It makes me think of that too, where I just feel like even within that, it will help you realize certain things. I don't remember where I was going with that, but make sure that you pay attention to red flags with that, I guess, as well. Where it seems like one option may be too good to be true. Oh, yes, okay. Where one option may be too good to be true, but then it's like, ooh. Then you hear stories and I think doing research for this year is important. Don't just listen to other people in person, but online. Like, thinking of, like, going on Reddit and being like, where's the best place to go for my internship for this kind of work? And if people tell you, then it's like you can do that. That might mean again having to do sacrifices. Let's say that you hate the cold, right? But then you move to Minnesota because it's like there's really good work within the field that you want to do. And there's open spots and you get accepted. Also, too, I'm hearing that for some of you, like you may have dreams, but you may have to kind of make sacrifices within that. So maybe you don't get a job at Microsoft, but you get like the second best thing, your second or third best option. I don't know what an equivalent would be. Like, yeah, Google, I don't know. And so you do that. Or some other big company. It's like, this is still good. So, but some of you like view that as something that's positive and that is still a step forward in the right direction. Where Spirit is saying you may still eventually get to that point that you want to be, like working at this certain place you want to work at. Maybe you have to do a step up. For many of you this year, that could also relate. And make sure that you're not upset by that, and make sure that if it feels like you're still on the right path to do that. And again, if it's somewhere that's still more like better, if you accept work somewhere that's better than where you used to work, and it's like maybe more well known, then Spirit's like, that would be even better for your resume if you're trying to apply somewhere later. That doesn't mean you can't go somewhere else later on, right? So just consider that. And then think about a different approach date. Yeah, so I think that also relates to what I was saying. Also, different approach to where you would have to live, or I think the different approach also relates to how you relate to people. So, or even like if you're trying to sell a product, how you relate to people professionally in that way. Like, let's say you try to do advertising, but it doesn't work, and then people are like kind of turned off by the kind of advertising you do. So maybe change it up. Maybe also don't try to force it too much. Some of you might try to force your energy onto people so much. So don't come from a place of desperation. I think a lot of you will kind of be a mix of desperation, inspiration, and excitedness for this year. Spirit is saying that things will come more naturally. So that's why if you want people to be drawn to you or your work or to appreciate your work, then you have to not put so much pressure on it yourself. And you also have to not have such high expectations from other people to give you certain feedback or anything like that. The courageous peony is saying to let yourself be seen. So this is a good chance for this year to go higher up also within a company, to ask for a raise, but more specifically to ask for like a higher up position or to have a different title, to get even different training, uh, to be able to go into a higher up position. For some of you, maybe you're thinking of going back to school as well, and that's a big decision. Spirit is saying for some of you that actually, oh, and returning. Some of you, it does make sense to do that. And that could relate with the turtle saying, stop trying to make something happen as well. For some of you, if you're not happy within your career, you may need to go back to school or get a certain, like, even if it's trade school or even if it's like a certification program. There's a sense that some of you maybe need to do that so that you are happier and on the right path. That's part of that leap of faith that we're talking about. That's part of something where it's like, well, maybe I could do this and I think I'd be happier. And then Spirit is saying this is a time of doing that. So some of you, it's about returning back to school or some sort of other similar program so that you can grow and evolve and maybe do work that you're happy with. And in that case, I want to say if some of you are like, some of you I think have careers where you're like, I already knew like toward the end, by the end of college, that I wouldn't like what I do, but I thought I would make more money. Spirit is like, obviously the money isn't worth it if you're not happy. So if you have to, that's part of the financial loss probably from the other stack. Some of you are maybe thinking of going back to college or doing something similar to that, getting certification somewhere. Spirit is saying that yes, that will cost money and it won't, and you'll be in less of a financial position than you would have been before that you would like to be in at this point in time. But if that's something that will help you and further progress you toward your goals, then that's what's important. And your happiness is important. And Obsidian is saying that you are protected in these decisions. And there's a lot of rapid decisions that do need to be made. And we literally have the decisions card here. But Spirit is saying it's not a time to keep going back and forth on this. It's a time now to actually take action for this because there's no better time. And Spirit is saying that the more time you let pass by, the less likely this opportunity will be able to happen for you, or maybe it will never even present itself to you again because of whatever reason. And with Turtle, stop trying to make something happen again. Course correcting if possible. And all that. I didn't take a picture for any of the numbers. Let me look again. I want to maybe look up 30, maybe not. Let me see the other cards real quick. I feel like is there anything I want to look up for the angel numbers book? Anything that I don't think I did 30, so I'll do 30 for you all. I think that could be important. So let's look at what it says in here. Trilogy. Mind, body, and spirit grow stronger together. Your efforts to strengthen the bond between these parts of you are fortifying your connection with the divine and creating a brilliant reality. Nurture all parts of yourself today in a ritual of connection. Meditate and picture a brilliant white light running through you, creating links and pathways of communication between mind, body, and spirit. And that reminds me of that Four of Cups energy, because I was looking at that Four of Cups before I even was reading this, so I kept staring at it. Part of that energy is about you meditating. So not making impulsive decisions, but really weighing out your decisions. But not having it being clear in your decision making, not just being caught up in one way or the other. People sometimes say, "Oh yeah, I don't know what decision to make." Like when they're going out to eat at a restaurant. Whatever this decision is you need to make, this big decision, you are leaning more toward one. And so think about why that is and intuitively feel that in your body for why that is. And think about if that's the path that would make you happy. It's like, are you thinking more logically or intuitively? You gotta remember part of the balancing is balancing those things out. And I think I wanted to look up one as well, just because there's a lot of like newness energy. One, architect. You have the ability to create. Your world is shaped and altered by your thoughts and words. Right now, you are creating, and the powerful forces of the universe are working with you. Remind yourself of this by repeating this mantra: I am the universe is me. That's the thing. Spirit is saying that you just have to take those first steps, and then everything else will start happening so quickly. It's almost like you won't have time to think, but I just think you'll have to trust in your decision making as things move along. And so taking the correct first steps will be very important for you, but Spirit is saying that you have the ability to enact change and to allow for success in your life right now and to allow for newness to come in for you. Let's read in the guidebooks now. So we have passed right by it. We have 29 Obsidian Protection Root Chakra. Obsidian is a very protective crystal. It has appeared for you today to provide you with a grounded, protective energy. Obsidian also reminds you of the importance of psychic protection. It is very important that you feel protected on all levels. To psychically protect yourself, imagine you're surrounded by a very strong bubble of golden light. The color gold is used to keep your energy strong and is extra resilient to lower energies. To keep yourself physically protected when you are by yourself, take note of your surroundings. Always pay attention to any feelings or warnings that you may receive. If you have a bad feeling about going to a particular place, event, or area, notice and acknowledge that feeling. Perhaps you can be extra cautious if you do go, or you can go with someone else or even reschedule if that is a possibility. To protect yourself spiritually, surround yourself with as many positive people as you can. See, that's part of what I'm saying. It's like anybody who is more draining or negative in your life, like I said, there's certain people in your life this year that you will need to remove, and there's certain people that you will need to add into your life. And I feel like they will be a lot more similar to you. Okay, if there is someone who is quite draining or negative in your life, what I was saying, protect yourself with the gold bubble before you go near their energy, even if it's somebody you have to work with, like at work. Obsidian is associated with the root chakra. It helps remove negativity and restores your energy. And this is page 44. 44 is one of the angel numbers that I talked about for everybody that is related to everybody collectively for this year. So if you didn't listen to the angel numbers from the original video that I posted, then go and check that out if you want to listen to the message of 44 and any other angel numbers that are related to your stack. Okay, let's go to Turtle Retreat. Stop trying to make something happen. There's not a whole lot you can do right now to influence the situation you're inquiring about. It's best to back off and wait until it's time to move forward again. There's nothing wrong with that, especially given the futility of trying to make something happen right now. Patience is what's called for. Well, I did talk about patience. Eventually, you can stick your neck out a little at a time to determine if it's time to come out and make some progress towards your goal. A retreat isn't defeat. Make it a conscious and intentional choice instead. You could spend some time by yourself in nature, away from the intensity of your usual life. Although we call this a retreat, it's really more of a movement toward the peace and harmony you'll find in the woods, at the mountains, or by the seashore. Doing so also helps you connect with Mother Earth, and when you do, it helps you put everything in proper perspective. The ocean's been there a long, long time, and will continue to be, and every day there's a sunset no matter what else has happened. Additional associations: femininity, slowness, toughness, fertility. I think the other keywords were like slowness because that's the balance of I feel like a lot will go on, but in your personal life, you need to make sure that you slow down and like meditate, find ways to relax your energy so that you're not so caught up in the stress of like career or professional life. And I do want to talk about it's saying there's not a whole lot you can do right now. I wonder if before you make certain decisions, like during the beginning parts of the year, or you know what? I'll say this, just throughout the year, I think you'll make decisions, and even though things will move quickly, I think when you're in that momentous vibe and energy, you'll maybe feel like you want to keep going and keep making certain decisions. But I did talk about how you shouldn't be super impulsive during this year. It's about balancing logic and intuition and balancing the decisions with rest. So Spirit is saying to not do too much at once, just adapt and do what you can. But don't try to force things to happen even quicker because it seems like things will be at a very moderate pace. And Spirit is saying that things are going to happen for you. Progress is going to happen, so you don't have to worry about the progress itself happening for you. Okay, and then let's go into the other guidebook for decisions. You drew this card because you're wrestling with a decision and are unsure which way to go. Your divine guidance has been attempting to show you the best path, so you already have the answer in your heart. Deep down, you know the right direction. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta be leaning more toward one direction. Yet, fears are holding you back from taking action based on this wise resolution. This card reminds you to trust your inner knowingness and ask yourself, which path brings me closer to my life purpose? What would love do in this situation? Sometimes this card appears because you've been avoiding making a necessary decision. That's the thing too. It feels like this decision, like, it's so not life or death, but it feels like life purpose coded. The final countdown. This is the time. Don't miss your chance. If so, you are being reminded that not making a decision is a decision. That is correct. Since you've decided to allow things to remain the same. Similarly, if you're trying to choose between two options, there may very well be a better third option for you. Oh, yes, think about a different approach today. So it feels like you may need to do sacrifices, but you'll still be happy with that result that ends up happening. Additional meanings. Pray for clear guidance. Notice and trust the signs. But yeah, it seems like there's something that's why you have to adapt and changes will be made over the course of when you like from the time you start this year to the end or whenever you start on this specific journey or whatnot. It feels like Spirit is saying things aren't what they seem completely, which is also why I talked about the balancing of the fantasticalism, mysticism, and realism and logic. Because it seems like there's also information that has not been revealed to you yet. And it feels like you also won't know how to act until certain things happen. So Spirit is saying that while you are being patient and with paying attention to red flags, there are certain things you can do to prevent excess chaos and to help keep you grounded. And there are things that you haven't been just aware of doing as part of your decision making process that you just aren't aware of yet. So Spirit is saying to have an open mind during this time as well. And during these decision-making processes. Okay, let's go to 30, integration. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. The Sri Yantra is an ancient symbol that literally means sacred instrument and is formed by 9 interlocking triangles that form 43 smaller triangles in a grid that represents the entire cosmos. This complicated and precise geometry is thought to hold and create powerful energetic patterns and has been used for thousands of years as a tool for meditation and devotion. So you could look at this and look up the Sri Yantra, Sriyantra, to help you when you're meditating as well or connecting with your guides or higher self. The Sri Yantra also symbolizes the union between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, where the upward triangles represent the female Shakti energies. Where the upward triangles represents the male Shiva energies and the downward female is the Shakti energies. The center point, or Bindu, represents the junction between the physical universe and the source. The dark blues refer to the vast and deep universe as the origin from which everything springs into being. The yellow and gold refers to our inner power and the way we express ourselves on this earth in a physical way. Or in a physical body, sorry. Red is a color associated with the first chakra and the physical plane and everything form-based. The light blue triangles represent the balance between the masculine and the feminine, and the swirling circles in the background are the other dimensions and star systems beyond this earth that are at our origin. The energy of integration supports our journey through a dualistic reality in which we continuously search for union and completion, both within and without. Its frequency reminds us that our manifested world can only be when every aspect has its opposite as well. Only when we integrate everything that comes to us, when we embrace every aspect of ourselves and of everyone and everything around us, can we find an inner state of equilibrium. Try this. Take a deep breath and close your eyes for a moment. How do you integrate your inner world with your outer world? Does one reflect the other harmoniously, or do you need to invest some loving care in some areas? Do you spend time contemplating your daily life and exploring how it is connected to your thoughts and your emotions? There's that Four of Cups energy again. There's a lot of contemplation. There's a lot of weighing out pros and cons and weighing where we feel more intuitively drawn to, where we strongly feel drawn to, an area of life we feel so connected to, even if we actually don't know much about it. If you feel drawn to something, even if you don't know much about it, Spirit is saying to explore and take things at a time, and maybe you'll like that path that you go down. And I feel like there's something else I wanted to say. There's just a lot of, the balancing of energies keeps getting brought up, and also it talks about divine feminine and divine masculine, and the feminine was brought up for the turtle card as well. So maybe balancing those energies will be very important for you. The root chakra gets brought up a lot, so having to ground your energy a lot during this time. And I think during this year, you should really connect with and talk with your guides as much as possible. Well, I don't want to say as much as possible, but every once in a while. I'm getting a sense of once a week. So then you know if you're on the right path, you know if you're doing things in accordance with what your higher self and what spirit is saying for you. Also, it is 3:33 at the time of right now, so I would like everybody to pause and make a wish or say anything to spirit. Okay. Let's go into the Ancient Stones Oracle Guidebook now. So we have Returning, and it says Spiral Journey, Growth, Renewal, Healed. Some believe that Glastonbury Tor, a sacred hill in southwest England that draws people from near and far, is a labyrinth. Legend says that it was once part of a druid initiation rite in which initiates would walk around its perimeter before winding upward until they reached the top. A labyrinth has a single path that spirals inward to a center point, and ancient stone labyrinths have been uncovered all over the world. As a symbol, it's also seen in prehistoric rock carvings. The same path that leads in also leads us out. As a symbol, the labyrinth can represent the spiral journey of life. It can represent the inner journey into the soul to explore our inner nature and back out again into the physical world, having gained a deeper understanding of ourselves. There's really a blending too. The balance also indicates from your pile, blending of internal versus external. So adapting to what's happening externally, and then internally processing and making decisions, and then externally, internally, a back and forth between those. Amongst many other things, the labyrinth can be used for insight and clarity, decision-making, releasing the past, new beginnings, and as a way to connect with our ancestors. The returning card is a reminder to trust the spiral journey of life, to trust life through all its changes, and when you think you may be over a pattern or lesson, to circle back to it a little more changed than before. This card often appears as a sign that growth is happening, that healing is happening, that you're facing a pattern or lesson again, but in a brand new way, for you're not who you were before you've grown. I think this also could relate to past life energy as well, where there's something you've always wanted to do in a past life that's related to what you want to do in this lifetime, but you've just never been able to do it for whatever reason. So now's the time to finally do what your spirit has always desired to do in the physical realm in human form. Ancient Stones activation. You can say this: I surrender to the spiral journey of my life. I ask the stone labyrinths labyrinths to reveal to me how I'm changing, growing, and healing with every step. Yeah, taking those small steps. And also, some of you maybe, yeah, will try to control the situation to be a certain way to your liking, but Spirit is saying that's part of what this path is. There will be parts that weren't part of your plan that you won't like, so that's why you have to adapt, but also it's about acceptance of those things that we can't change. Okay, now let's go to the Starseed Oracle Guidebook. It says, a courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. Flowers don't open and close according to who walks by. They embrace all of what they are and show it to the world around them. The peony doesn't try to compete with the cherry blossom, and the cherry blossom doesn't try to compete with the tulip. They own what they are and trust the timing of their true nature. You're being called to do the same. It reminds me of when I was talking about, like, don't compare yourself to others in a negative way, but do it in a way of, like, is there something this person does that I don't like that I'm glad I don't do, and there's just something they do that I would like to incorporate and get inspiration from. And realizing everybody's their own person and is on their own path. But you know what's best for you. It's time to open yourself up to being seen. Time to share your incredible, multifaceted, true nature with the world around you. To uncover and reveal your soul's greatest gifts without wavering. To own your uniqueness without apology. There's a flower on this planet that holds the same qualities that your soul is readying itself to express. Let it inform you. You may have been taught that it's safer to keep your light hidden and your voice small, to hide behind the bushes instead of growing tall. The courageous peony is here to remind you that it's safe to embody all of who you truly are. It's safe to share your voice and let yourself be seen. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, and you may be afraid of what others think, but with each passing day, it does become easier. Little by little, you realize that it draws in those who are meant for you, and experiences you've been longing for arrive at your feet. Axel, don't be scratching, Axel. I'll read that last part again in case you couldn't hear it. Little by little, you realize that it draws in those who are meant for you, and experiences you've been longing for arrive at your feet. Starseed Soul Inquiry. How are you being called to allow yourself to be more visible and seen in the world? So those last words that I was saying, Spirit's saying experiences that you've wanted to experience, that you are meant to experience, will happen this year. And also I'm seeing that if things don't happen like this year, that you're preparing yourself this year. You're doing actions, taking action that will allow these different experiences to happen. But also this year, it talks about people being drawn to you who are meant for you, and that's really important for you all to hear, because I think having a support system of some kind will be helpful, even if it's not the support system you originally thought you had. Also, the other page from the integration card guidebook ended on page 80, but this one starts on page 50. I don't feel like reading the 8 card, but I will read... Wait, did I already do 5? I don't think I did 5. I did 25 in the other one. Either way, I'll just read number. Do I want to do 5 or 0? Or 50. Or 50. I'll do 5. What it feels like. 5, growth. Yes! The only thing that stays the same is change. As the world around you shifts and moves, it's time to get flexible. Change is inevitable, and your peace comes not from the stability of things outside you, but also from that which is created from your foundation within. Your angels remind you to make inner peace a priority, so that when change comes, you know that you're tethered to something it cannot touch. Meditate today with a visualization of your inner peace tying you firmly to the universe. So yeah, with these changes, I feel like you'll be able to, with things moving quickly, you'll be able to make decisions and enact change in a way that is for your growth, ultimately for positive change, positive growth. And I think if things seem scary now or at first, it won't be that way. You'll be able to... Axel, come here, Axel. You'll be able to very quickly get into this rhythm of knowing and trusting the process and trusting what you want to have happen. And then, let's see, is there anything else I want to say before I go to the other cards? Anything else I want to say before I go to the other cards? No, I think I covered everything, so let's just put these cards over here. And then let's set up these other oracle cards. Ooh, Aries, number 1. Number 1, Aries. Yep. Okay. So there are angel number cards here, but I will not provide the answers until after I'm done with these top 4 cards. So with Aries 1 Act, I'll just read what it says in the guidebook, I think. Because already, or I guess what else could I even say? Really, it's that, yeah, this is just the year of going for something. So this is perfect confirmation of that. I'll read what it says in the guidebook though. Okay, 1 Aries Act. Aries asks you to remember your personal fire, your reasons for being alive. It pumps up the volume on your life force. Its energy is raw, exhilarated, direct, rude, passionate, and looking for a challenge. Use your wisdom to focus this raw power and give it a goal. Aries is the cardinal fire sign whose fresh, brash enthusiasm is symbolized by a headstrong ram. It rules the head and imbues initiation, new beginnings, spontaneity, rebellion, and rebirth. The sun shines here approximately March 20th to April 20th. Action. Begin. Move into new territory. Cut to the chase. To the chase. Be a hero. Feel the call to action and thoughtfully respond. Clear the air and clear the decks. Be crisp and to the point. Shoot from the hip. Set healthy boundaries just by being vibrantly alive. Express affection enthusiastically, spontaneously, passionately. Work in short, intense bursts rather than long periods of deep concentration. Aries activates our inner adolescent. Direct orders can set off knee-jerk rebellion. Instead of telling others what to do or how they feel, express your own experience and opinion and speak in I terms. Set a challenge and let others find their own answers. Make sure all sides feel heard. If a person feels torn between meeting their own needs and meeting another's, they'll take care of their own needs first, yes. So don't set this up as an either-or situation. Aries energy boils over quickly. If a situation threatens to erupt in conflict, get out, take a break, and come back later. Challenge. Accidents increase when you are in a hurry, rushing through a project, or impatiently distracted. This flammable temperament can spark inspiration or spark a conflagration. Proceed with caution. Gift. Aries marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere. After a long, dark winter, the dead landscape comes alive. Plants that were shorn of leaves or dormant now breathe new life. This is a brave miracle, and it can be your miracle. Feel the flowing inner life force, trust this divine direction, and summon the courage to begin. See, Aries is about new beginnings as well. Aries is about new things happening and being not afraid to take chances. The thing with Aries though is, again, I think a lot of you, when you get the ball rolling, maybe this is the best way to describe it is overconfidence, where it's like you just feel like if you already are making correct decisions and you already see profit or rewards, a lot of you might feel like then you can just be willy-nilly with your decision making. So Spirit is saying that you need to be more level-headed with the decisions that you make as well. But yeah, Spirit is also saying think about what makes you passionate and happy and go for it. But don't be impulsive now. And then we're done with the guidebooks, by the way, but we do have in Capricorn, your goals, the day-to-day reality of, and use the most business-like way and dedication to achieve, focusing on, resulting from the rules imposed by. Capricorn is literally all about career. It's all about making also steady progress toward one's goals. So if throughout this year you feel like things are being more steady, that's part of what your stack was already saying, is that things, even if you make decisions and you have to be quick with things, things will also unfold, events will unfold in a timely manner instead of, like, some stuff will happen all at once, but then other things will happen more over time. So be patient through all those things. Capricorn is willing to be patient in order to see their rewards, in order to be rewarded for all the work they have put in. So with these cards, it's saying, and also, wait a minute now. Because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Scorpio is ruled by Mars as well. And if I remember correctly, yeah, Capricorn, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So these two energies together, it's saying that with taking action, oh, you know what too? It's like the balance of steady progress, but things happening quickly. So when you have to be patient, that's a time to assess and reassess. Like, are things running smoothly? If not, where can you improve? Where can you course correct? So I really like that both of these are showing up side by side for you today. for this 2026 year ahead reading. But Spirit is saying that with working hard, you will be rewarded. You will be successful, but you just have to also be patient, and you also have to make sure that you know where you're headed. So if you have, that's why it can be good to have a plan, but have it be a lenient plan. So if things don't turn out the way you like, then logically think of what to do, and then with Aries energy, act upon it with all the energy that you can. For the other cards, we have let go. Make room for the new beginning on its way to you now. Oh my gosh. See, I think something for you all could be you're a little bit scared to make this change because, again, it could cost money. It could be something that you just don't know if. I think it relates to that past life energy too, but I think a lot of you are worried. What you need to let go of is that worry and the fear that you're not enough or that you won't do good enough. And also let go of pressure that you put on yourself. Just allow the new beginnings to happen. Allow yourself to make mistakes. And also, part of what you need to let go of is like, I just feel like the changes and this main change that will happen this year, there will be a lot you do need to let go of, including friends and stuff that I talked about. But I feel like your lifestyle in general will shift majorly, and Spirit is saying to go along with it and do what's in your best interest, even if it means having to make changes, even changes that you didn't think you'd make. So Spirit is saying to let go of anything that's keeping you held back and preventing you from taking action toward this goal or this dream that you have or that you want to have. Spirit is saying don't just want it, do it, have it, work toward it, and start now. Or whenever you can, as soon as you can this year. And so they're saying make room for this new beginning because it wants to show up for you. So whenever you're ready, then just go for it. And do research as necessary. But we also have 12 next fall. I feel like 12 could actually be a number for you all. Let me look it up. In here, number 12. Support. When you take the next step, you are not alone. Life has sent you new opportunities, and now is the time to embrace them with the faith that you will be supported. The things that come your way are for your highest good. Reflect on how you've been helped by unseen forces in your life. Sit in the profound realization of how support comes in many forms. And a lot of you are also very much being supported by Spirit as well. Like, they're trying to send you signs. They're trying to send you opportunities. They just want for you to be open-minded when these things happen. Oh, I love that. The supportiveness, I love it. And part of that is letting go of the people who aren't supportive, bringing on new support. There are always going to be people out there who would try to have you fail, but there's also people who don't even know you who want for you to succeed and want for you to do well, even if it's just because they believe in your vision and what you're striving for. But with next fall, that is a card that represents an important time for you. So next fall could indicate specifically the fall of 2026, but it could also be the fall of 2027. I actually think both times could be important. I'm getting a sense that there will be a major breakthrough in your thinking for fall 2026, but by the time then a year from that, when it's fall 2027, that's a time where I think if you haven't been super fruitful or you haven't seen the actual success tangibly or like in front of you physically, then that year period by that next fall, you'll start seeing things happen a lot more. It won't just be a lot of stuff happening in the background. Like, you could be taking action toward things, but maybe it doesn't seem like you're being rewarded very much. But Spirit is saying if you keep at it, there's a big breakthrough this fall. By the time it's next fall, you realize that there will be a lot coming, like within that period, there will be a lot coming to you. But yeah, just consider the fall to be an important time. I'm seeing actually the cornucopia. So yeah, I think and that represents like the fall as well, but it also represents abundance. So fruits of labor. This fall, big breakthrough, more progress will be made. That isn't just like in the background. How do I explain that? Like it won't just be in the background. It won't just be you setting things up or preparing and planning. So yeah, big breakthrough fall. And then by the next fall, a lot of abundance, if not already, will start coming your way as it relates to you being patient from putting in your hard work and adapting to the changes. Okay, let me put these aside, and I want for you to look here at these cards, I want for you to meditate with the cards. These are cards that will provide answers to questions you have. They should be cards related to, it could be literally anything about 2026. It could be about anything I've said specifically, but it could be about anything. It could be about anything in life. It doesn't have to just be about your reading for 2026 or questions you have for this year. It could be about anything, but what I want for you to do is, even if you had certain questions beforehand that you thought you maybe would have asked, you could have to change maybe your questions by looking at these answer oracle cards. So look at the cards, meditate with them, intuitively think and feel which questions come to mind, and then after a minute, I will get back to you with the answers. All right, it has been a minute. So, the answer for your first question is the situation will improve, and the answer for the second question is not the right time. I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 1A, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel, it helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel, and you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittany's ASMR, that will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 1A, and take care.